Okay, this light is really weird today, and I swear I don't have a sunburn. Mom, I swear I don't have a sunburn. My book review today is on In Falling Snow by Mary Rose McCool. This was sent to me for review from the Book Depository, hence the really attractive cover. However, this is what the cover looks like on the published version. Much prettier, for sure. In Falling Snow follows two characters, Iris and Grace, at different points in their lives. Iris is an elderly woman. She's dying. She knows it. And now that she has gotten old, she's reflecting on her life and sort of the pinnacle of it, which was working as a nurse in a World War I hospital. She worked at Royaumont in France, kind of near Paris. Now, Grace is her granddaughter. Grace is a doctor at a hospital, but she specifically works with pregnant women, emergency issues with them and whatnot. However, this book actually takes place in the 1970s because somebody who worked during World War I obviously wouldn't be alive now. So this takes place in the 1970s, and you get that view of there's still some discrimination against women in hospitals and how they're just not looked at as having the same amount of knowledge and ability as men. So we see that point of a story from Grace, and also her raising her family of 3 kids and being married and working as a doctor. Because Iris is slowly dying, Grace is realizing how much she doesn't know about her grandmother, and all these preconceived notions that she has are not actually true. We jump back and forth. Each chapter changes points of view, and then we also occasionally get snippets of Paris 1917, Paris 1918, and they're just really short little chapters that don't name who the characters are, and you just get glimpses of something going on. Eventually, this all ties into the final story of what exactly happened at this field hospital during World War I. What happened at this point in time, at the end of the war, that kind of shaped Iris's life, and once Grace finds out what it is, how it changes hers. I found the beginning to be rather slow. It was a lot of character establishment and finding out about how they currently live their lives, how Iris was slowly losing her mind. She takes in this baby possum, and everybody's like, Iris, you're old, you're obviously losing your mind, just get rid of it. But she's determined to take care of it, and Grace is, constantly visiting her mother to see how she is. Iris is in and out of conversations a lot. We slowly start to spend more and more time in the World War I setting, which is what I really enjoyed. I picked out this book because it was a World War I story, and I feel like I read a lot of World War II books, but I don't read as many World War I. There also isn't as much stuff on World War I, so I figured I'd educate myself. Although the majority of the characters in this book are fiction, and the general story of Iris and Grace is fictional, Royaumont actually existed, and some of the women who show up in that field hospital are actually real people, and they're sort of pioneers in becoming, women becoming doctors and whatnot. So we have Iris's old time of women actually becoming doctors and being able to run their own hospital versus Grace, who was still facing prejudices in the 1970s. World War I portion of the story I really liked. There's some great characters in there. There was lots of really fascinating detail about the different, 1916 versus 1917 and how many soldiers were coming to the hospital and sort of the different challenges that they faced as the Germans kept coming closer and closer to Paris and to their field hospital, and how actually successful they were. You can tell that Mary Rose did a lot of research on this portion because it's very filled out. There's a lot of different stuff, and it's really, really interesting. Grace's part can be pretty interesting, especially when she's dealing with issues in the hospital, but nothing really beats that World War I story, and I almost wish this had been entirely focused during that time. I mean, I can see how adding in that family secret that is sort of hinted at throughout the entire book. I mean, you know that something's going on. It's also on the description of the book. You wait for it to build for 400 pages almost, and then when it finally happens, it feels kind of rushed, and I felt like it was just sort of hinted at for so long, and then when it finally happened, I was kind of like, oh, that was not that much time spent on something that is really a big secret and affects somebody's life forever. Due to that discrepancy, in terms of the pacing of this family secret, but really liking World War I and enjoying some of the more modern perspective from Grace, I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. I definitely recommend it for anybody who is into those family dramas with a lot of intricate stuff going on and, you know, that big family secret that changes everything forever. For those of you who are interested in historical fiction, then, and specifically around World War I, this is a good book to read. It definitely has interesting points, but it's definitely not the sole focus of the book, so you might have better luck trying something else that's just only about World War I. If you have any comments about the book, any questions about it, feel free to leave comments below. As always, all of our links are in the doobly-doo. We got the Twitter, we got the Goodreads, we got the book depository, email, etc. all down there. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you later.